Hello, everybody. I thought I'd tee off week 9 previews with the game between Michigan and Fresno State. As you can see on screen here, Michigan comes in with a 4-4 record. Fresno State, led by Fritz Buckaloo, has a 3-5 record. And this is one of those back against the wall kind of games. While Fresno State is not facing elimination just yet, a loss here against Gerald Lane's Michigan Wolverines would put the Fresno State Bulldogs within one game of elimination with 6 losses. As you know, you have to have a 500 or better record in this league to make the championship bracket in the first place. And on top of that, you have to be in the top 7. So you could have a 500 or better record and still not make the championship bracket if you were the 8th ranked team. Now, this is a rare occasion, but if it did happen, that's the way it would go. Only 7 teams can compete for the national title. So Fresno State comes into this game a 3-5 record, as I just mentioned, and this is a very important game for them, obviously. And let's have a look now at Fresno State's situation as far as buys and injuries. This week, Kenny Pickett has a bit of an issue. It looks like it's a shoulder issue. And a closer look at the details shows that it's actually, in fact, a ribs issue. But he was able to practice this week. He's questionable in week 9. So we go to the news articles and we see that apparently, according to NFL.com, Kenny Pickett says he's going to play. Now, of course, most players will always say they're going to play, especially a tough guy like Pickett. But he is claiming he's going to play. I'm not sure if the Steelers have a lot of good options off the bench behind him, but I think they really want their guy to be out there. I would say Pickett probably plays. A rib thing, they'll just buckle on the straps, buckle on the extra pads, whatever, strap on the extra pads, and get him ready for action. The Steelers have a winning record right now, and they are trying to make a play for the playoffs. So I would say Kenny Pickett probably plays in this game, but he does have an issue. It is a rib issue. Other than that, a look up and down just at the red flag shows us Christian Gonzalez is out. He's one of their defensive backs. Gonzalez has a labrum issue in his shoulder. He is on the injured reserve list, but he's expected to come back this week. So the former Oregon Duck, now Fresno State Bulldog in this league, Christian Gonzalez, he's a star defensive back, and he's expected to come back this week. We'll see how effective he is. Other injuries would include Derek Stingley from the Houston Texans, the corner. Fresno State Bulldog in this league. Stingley is on the injured reserve, and he is also expected to come back in week 9. So the Bulldogs should have their guys back that are injured in the secondary. Other than that, not really seeing anything else other than Pickett and the 2 DBs. Now, how about the buys for Fresno State? Here's a big one. Sam Laporta, their tight end, averaging 3.7 points a game. He is among the elite tight ends in this league alongside of Kyle Pitts. Missing Laporta would be big. Last week he had 5 points. I think that's a big-time hit for the Fresno State Bulldogs. We'll see how that plays out. Can't be good, though, because they really don't have anybody else. Josiah Deguara of the Packers, only averaging less than a point a game. I doubt he's going to be effective in a backup role. Let's have a look and see if he's capable of anything. His game log shows that in week 4, on 4 targets, he had 4 catches for 34 yards and 2 fantasy points. So he can come up, but most games he just pretty much logs a 0. Other than that, we've got, let's see, Patrick Surtain on a bye, so he will be out. He's one of their more valuable defensive backs, but as you can see, there's a lot of them on the Fresno State Bulldogs. That's one thing Fritz always does, is stock his team with plenty of defensive backs. So there's the story for the Bulldogs. Let's move over to Michigan. And here's the Wolverines coming in with 4 wins and 4 losses. And this is an important game for Michigan. I think they need to win this one against Fresno State if they want to keep their chances at a national title strong. First off, let's have a look at the injury flags. Of note, anyways. Not seeing anything yet. And this is looking pretty good. Jeremy Chin out. He averages 2 points a game, so that's kind of a loss there, and he's going to be out. He's on the injured reserve list and isn't expected back until week 12. Other than that, though, they're pretty good at defensive back. As you can see, Deron Bland is playing very well. Cameron Curl, Derwin James, Marquise Bell. Pretty strong there in the secondary for Michigan, so that all looks good. Let's look at the buys. Javonte Williams, that's a big one. That might cancel out the loss of Sam Laporta, but not quite. I think this is a little less of a loss for Michigan than Laporta is a loss for Fresno State. They have other running backs, as you can see. Jonathan Taylor just came back this week. If I'm not mistaken, this was his first week back. Maybe not his first week back, but first week back that he really was strong. I take that back. Week 7, he was also very strong. 6.4 points. He had 5 points last week. He's the same old guy we remember. So a much-needed boost to their running game is Jonathan Taylor. See if he's going to cover very nicely for Javonte Williams. This is a very strong running game that Michigan has. And they also have a very strong receiver core led by Nico Collins, Chris Olave, and Josh Palmer. Now, Rashee Rice is on the farm right now, so they're looking to redshirt him. But he could really help them out with this 3 points a game average. And last week he had 3 points. And as you can see, he would have made the box score with that 3 points. Another guy that they're redshirting is Jackson Smith-Njigba from Seattle. So they are thicker at wide receiver than the guys that they have on the field. Maybe Michigan should pick some choice moments to pull these guys off of the redshirt status and play them because, as you know, you have 4 active games. You want to save your guys for the most part for bowl season, but if you're going to be in the championship bracket, that consists of 3 games. So you have a game, an extra game you could spare during the regular season to play some of these guys that you're looking to redshirt. See what else we have here for buys and not seeing anything yet. We're in the linebackers now, going to DBs. No, nothing else. So the big loss, of course, Javonte Williams, the running back, but they've got plenty of guys to cover for him. Things look pretty good for the Michigan State or the Michigan Wolverines to go to 5 wins and 4 losses. And looking ahead at the schedule, they got Fresno State this week, obviously. Maryland next week, Cal the week after, San Diego State, and Colorado. So it's going to be a rough road to the championship bracket. I would say that this Fresno State game right here, week 9, is almost a must-win situation for Michigan because they need 3 victories. And to need 3 victories against these 4 opponents, Maryland, California, San Diego State, and Colorado, that's asking quite a bit. Looking over at Fresno State and what they've got to deal with going forward, Michigan this week, huge game, of course. Oregon, that's a win. Alabama, Colorado, San Diego State, so no laydowns other than Oregon. That's a guaranteed win, but the problem is the Bulldogs sitting at 3-5 need 4 more victories in these 5 games. So I would say this Michigan game is a must-win situation for the Bulldogs. In fact, I'd say pretty much almost every game is a must-win situation. You're going to get the Oregon win, but you can ill afford to lose more than 1 game because now you're out. You're going to the non-championship bracket. And by the way, you all know that even if you don't make the championship bracket, you go to the non-championship bracket and you still get a bowl in week 17. Everybody gets a bowl, and you are playing for something in those bowls. Those are not just consolation games. You're playing for a higher draft pick the following season because in the program football league, success is rewarded and failure is punished. Just like in real life and college programs, the better teams, the teams that succeed, always attract the best talent in the nation. That's how teams stay good year after year. Teams like Alabama, Oregon in the Pac-12, and the list goes on. Ohio State. I mean, I don't want to leave any names out, but I'm going to have to because I don't want to go on and on. But the better programs out there do well because they get the attention of the top recruits due to their success. So a big game coming up for Fresno, although it looks like they're in a little bit of trouble in this one. And if they do go to the non championship bracket, all hope is not lost, as they can still fight for as high as the seventh overall draft pick potentially. That can happen. You can make the non championship bracket, and then if you earned your way to the highest bowl you could achieve, and I can't remember off the top of my head what bowl that is. I could look. I mean, let's just bear with me for a second. We'll check it out. It's the number 8 versus number 7 bowl. If you can get to that bowl by winning your way through the non-championship bracket, then you can play for the 7th overall pick. And this year that's going to be the Holiday Bowl in San Diego, California, Petco Park. I went to that bowl last year in real life. It was against the Oregon Ducks, and I think it was North Carolina. What a game. It came down to the last play practically, and Oregon pulled out the victory, but it was a well-earned victory. Anyways, Holiday Bowl will be played for the number 7 overall pick, and if there are just 7 teams that make the championship bracket, then whoever wins the non-championship bracket, whoever's the last man standing there after week 16, gets a chance to play in the Holiday Bowl and play for as high as the 7th overall pick. So even if Fresno State falls to the non-championship bracket, as you can see, there's still an opportunity to get to this Holiday Bowl in San Diego and play for number 7. All right, that's about it for now, guys. I'll talk to you soon with more game previews as I have them.